Hi everyone, my name is Mihaela Mihuds. I am a proud lifetime member of the Actor Studio and an international acting coach. I am so thrilled for my podcast, Hey Stella, and our journey together celebrating life and the professionals who must deal with life in depth, the actors. They must live it truthfully in the fictional stories. They must not pretend. So, yes, acting is living truthfully. It's Stella with Mihaela fans. Today I have a new hat. It is kind of too high. This is the highest top I've ever had, to be honest. And I see that it's not making sense in the frame. So maybe I have to move the computer. But if I move the computer, then you get to see other things that maybe should not be in the frame. But that's okay. Let's try it this way. So, hey Stella with Miha. Ella. I have a session that's coming up in about half an hour. I am so grateful to still be working on private projects, one-on-one projects with diverse actors from all over the world. And I will not mention the name of the one I'm working with right now, but I'm very, very proud for her achievement and the role that she's actually having to work on. I was thinking about this week, and as I say almost every time in the beginning of the podcast, it is so difficult, and there's a fear that lingers through the entire week when I'm thinking of the episode that I want to make for this week's podcast. No matter that there are only hundreds of people listening rather than thousands, which would make this so much more better, I then am made to remember that Stanislavski and Strasberg said, when you are on stage, it doesn't matter that you have 5 people in the audience or you have thousands of people in the audience. A great actor will do the work as if he always had thousands of people in the audience. So if somebody says, I only have, I don't know how many lines, I'm not going to put so much into it, I'm only going to be on the screen for a few minutes for a scene, it's not a big deal. That means that you are not giving your art the respect that it deserves. Strasberg took that and he said something similar. If you're on a stage, it doesn't matter that the stage is in a classroom. It doesn't matter that the stage is at the biggest theater on Broadway. You must give of yourself as an artist the same. You are required as an artist to give to that role all that you can in that particular moment. So playing to the audience and the fear that I have to come up with an episode that's going to make sense, with an episode that's not going to sound stupid, is always there. And I'm sure that a lot of people, as it is in our human construction, to have fear more than we desire to have it in every day of our life, actor, artist, or no actor. Why do we have fear? Where does the fear come from? The fear of collaboration and the fact that the society has been guiding us in many ways to do what doesn't feel right, to do what is not constructive, not because they wanted to direct us on a negative path as people, but because of fear in themselves. And that understanding of fear of collaboration, I get it because I have been dealing with it for a long, long time personally. So let me give you a little bit of what I mean. As an acting coach, the position, the title of an acting coach is to work with directors on a movie or to be hired by director to work with the actors on set, or to be hired by a director to work on a play for stage, or to be hired by an individual actor to work with him or her on the role they are playing. the acting coach comes in to kind of fill the role of the audience member. When you are on the other side and you're not involved as the actor is in trying to do the analysis of the role, trying to work on his or her instrument, the self, to be able to be an open canvas and have all the senses available to its instrument, the self, to be able to take on a new role. As the acting coach, being on the outside, you are more able to be the observer. You are more able to understand, to watch from the outside and understand what is needed to be worked on in that particular moment to get the best results that you can for the role. Collaboration means that a person works on something that he or she is good at, the other person brings what she or he is good at, the other person works on what she or he is good at. Director brings the visual, the bigger picture, the actors, their independent, original understanding of the character to make it the most authentic by bringing their authentic life to it. And the acting coach helps to bridge the gap between what the director's big picture is and what the actor's detailed needs and detailed techniques and exercises needed to make each moment of that role to be the best that he or she can bring to it. Equal, not equal collaboration, it doesn't matter. But what I have realized and what I have noticed, going back to the fear, people at the end of the project, and when the project, specific project that was worked on in the way that I just described, comes to the final end and it's being presented in cinemas and it's becoming the best at the box office in the last, I don't know how many years. So it's a success. That final product, which is the finished movie or the finished play, becomes a success. So then the red carpet and all the fancy party celebratory events happen, much deserved, because it requires a lot of work and a long time to put one of these projects together. So when that celebratory welcoming of your work, the audiences have been witness to what you have given in your collaborative position to that project, and you watch the audience coming out, crying or laughing, thinking, or having a great sentiment about who they are as people because they identify with those characters that they saw on the stage or on the screen. And you know that you had a little part in making these strangers in the audience by watching that you participated in and collaborated in to feel something, to remind them of their humanity in some way. It feels extraordinary. And then you walk out and you feel the adrenaline pumping inside of your veins, the same way that Al Pacino describes the way that you as an actor have to be giving yourself to a role and to a play by feeling the blood circulating in your veins when you do that character, because you have to bring yourself alive, more alive than you are in your everyday life. You feel the same adrenaline rush and you're proud of your work and you're proud of the people who have given you the opportunity to be part of this project. And you come outside and you're standing there and you see the director and you see the actors, and some of them are so sweet and nice and they run to you and they say, thank you, Mihail, or thank you, another acting coach, for what you've done privately. But then the cameras come on with the media people, the cameras come on. And all of a sudden you're looking and you see how you're kind of pushed to the side, pushed to the side in a way that's not very noticeable. It's not like somebody's actually pushing you and saying, get out of here. They're keeping you on the edge. They're keeping you on the edge of the red carpet because I think they don't want you to raise your hand and to want to say, hi, I'm an acting coach. I've also contributed, I've collaborated in this project, and I'm really proud of what the actors and the director were able to come up with. And just to say that I was a small part, does that make me arrogant? What is wrong with us wanting to be recognized, and what is wrong with people not wanting to share the credit for which we all put work into for the project to become a successful project? What keeps us away first from sharing that credit? What makes the director not mention having great success with more than just one project that we had in collaboration? What makes that director, when asked in interviews, like I said, on the red carpet after the premiere of the film or later on in interviews, and the whole country and everybody is so in awe of the project and the movie, and the director mentions everyone that collaborated, because there's a whole team of people that need to collaborate on the film. There's a whole team. Without each individual, you cannot make a project to be a success, in my opinion. Collaboration means that different minds, different creative minds come together and they all know how to do one thing very well. By knowing how to do the one thing very well, you put it all together and then you mix it up and you let it blossom. But without a mixture of those different individuals with creative minds on specific things, I don't think you would have a successful project. I really believe that. But I think it's fear at the base of it all. I think the fear is for the person who is desiring to be recognized. For example, if I know that I had contributed in some sense in helping to make this project successful as an acting coach, and I know that for myself, why do I need to be recognized? I think I need to be recognized because that would enhance my career. That would give other people the understanding that an acting coach is valuable. But at the same time, I think, which is the most important, it would give other actors and other directors who might not know that there was an acting coach on set and had a huge part in making the film a success, they learn that that is what happens. So they would be able to have the decision making in which they could say, maybe next time I'm going to reach out to an acting coach and see if I can get my actors to relax, to get to their primal selves in a way that I, as a director, don't have all the tools, don't know exactly the articulation of the language of actors as an acting coach does, to be able to bring them to what their possibilities and their capacity is as the actors. So I think it would be a revelation to other people to be able to say, here is a blueprint of what a select group of people do. Successful ones who are the ones at the top of their game, like Nicole Kidman and Juliette Binoche and Leonardo DiCaprio and Jennifer Aniston. Most of them have worked with an acting coach from the very beginning, from many, many years ago. And others like Jennifer Aniston, she had just learned now while doing the morning show the need and the understanding of what an acting coach brings to her work. And after so many years of her trying to get away from the character of Rachel in Friends, I feel like everything that she did in all the other movies after Friends, the series was over, Jennifer Aniston was not being able to escape, because I don't think that she knew how to tap into a different well that she had inside of herself, except for the one that she used for so many years to bring what she needed for the role of Rachel. So everything that she did was Rachel in other situations. in the other movies, until somebody brought to her the coach that she actually mentions, and she thanks this coach that she's working with. But this is after having done and having become a celebrity and having done everything that she could have done in Hollywood. You would think, when it comes to like financial situation, I mean, Friends went on to be the most watched show, and all the people are set for life if that's the only thing that matters in finances. But they want to be able to pass that, and they want to be able to tap into different sides of themselves, to go deep into different wells of riches inside of their humanity, to see what else they can bring for different characters, so they don't play Rachel in other movies. I'm assuming that that's what this coach has brought her. I think that she is actually widening her repertoire in a way that I haven't seen her do as an actress in so many years. And she's been around, and she had the opportunities of scripts to play on. And until the acting coach came into the picture, I don't think that she understood how to tap into that other undiscovered parts of herself. She mentions her. So she does mention the acting coach publicly, which is something. Nicole Kidman also mentions her acting coach publicly. Leonardo DiCaprio does, but they don't do it in a way that is on platforms where a lot of people hear it, and that makes a lot of people not know that that is what's happening. And whenever they hear acting coach, really, you worked on that as an acting coach, or you worked one-on-one with actors to get an audition where they needed to do something where they were not able to get out of themselves, and they were not able to give themselves permission to go for it, go for it, go for it. And the acting coach comes in, and through different techniques and different tools that I have been privileged to have learned as an actress at the actor studio and as a teacher for many, many years now, I come in, and as a coach, I don't even have to say as an acting coach, as a coach, I know what individual people need in the moment that I am working with them. I see it now. I know how and what technique to try to get them to where they want to go, but they don't even know that they're capable of going there. So it's pretty freaking amazing. I'm so grateful to be able to have this job that I have and to be able to do this. I'm so privileged. Ugh. But what I wanted to say is, I think that what stands at the base of not wanting to really talk about collaboration with other people and wanting to grab that credit for yourself is due to fear of incompetence, is fear of not being enough, not feeling that you would be good enough if you were to mention other people as collaborators. I think that when a director doesn't mention an acting coach, that particular director feels that since everybody's asking the questions of, oh my God, the director has come on scene and she's so young and she's been able to captivate audiences here at home and internationally. And what makes you create projects that are so successful as you are creating right now? And then you hear the answers in interviews and articles that were written. And some of the answers have to do with the language that I have used myself with the actors, and the director being part of the entire rehearsal process or the workshop that we did before shooting the film. When I was on set the whole time, she was able to capture, she was able to take on some of the articulation, some of the language I use with the actors, and she would use those replies to the interviewers as if to say that she understands a different way of working with actors that other people don't. But there's no mention, or very rarely there is a mention, but it's under the breath, the same way that, you know, the other ones that I mentioned, the fancy ones, don't mention theirs as much. There's like almost under the breath mention of, I want to thank my mentor. I want to thank my mentor, blah, 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 blah. This is for the successful people who are talking about their coaches, or even if they mention them in their full name, their admission to the specificity in the work with that particular person is not being described. And I think holding that work, they have the excuse of saying, well, but this work is sacred, we don't want to share it to anybody. I think it's just an excuse of not wanting to release it to be of help for other people. And I think I'm at a point in my life where I want so much. After like so many years, I think I have the right to be able to consider this work to be so important, because it's not just entertaining, but it is helpful with our evolution as people, because it has to do with our humanity. It has to do with our individual growth. It has to do with our growth in our community. It has to do with what unites us. It has to do with what divides us. So this work of actors is so important. It goes beyond entertaining. And I'm at a point, to be honest, where I think that keeping it for yourself or lying to yourself about not needing any collaborators, especially collaborators of acting coaches, is a lie. And acting requires truth. So when you're putting yourself there and you're saying, I am going to reveal the truth in our humanity, because that's what acting represents in its characters, but then you're going and you're holding back a part of that work that made that successful project that will move people. You're holding back the ingredients. You're giving all the ingredients from the recipe, but you're holding one that's pretty important. You're keeping it, you're holding it back. I guess you have the right to do so. It's your prerogative, but I also have the right to not. I also have the right to expose it. Oh, one of the things that somebody said to me when I was working on one of these projects, which I used to say I'm not giving names yet, is that hurt me so much. And it was a little bit like, maybe it was I shouldn't have been hurt, because that has to do with my personal insecurities and my fear, going back to that fear of not being good enough, fear of, if somebody doesn't recognize my work or what I've done, it means that I'm horrible. I'm not good enough. I haven't done a great job, even though it already has proven that the job was done greatly, because the success of the story is what shows me that. But there was somebody who said to me while working on this project, your job doesn't even exist. Your position on this project doesn't even exist. And I said, yes, it does. It's not that it doesn't exist. You do not want to admit it. It doesn't exist for you, but it exists because I know my collaboration and what that recipe ingredient part of my work brought to that project. It completed, it brought enough to make it a success, the same way that everybody else brought their part to it while blending it and putting it together to make that end product a success. And people could watch and feel like they're watching human beings on the big screen. So I know that my position, my job position of an acting coach exists. It might not be known publicly. It's known to few select circles, but it exists with people that you might not even have an idea that they're actually working with acting coaches. So the fear of taking the credit has to do with our personal fear of not being appreciated. The same way that wanting to be recognized still has to deal with the fear of not being good enough. I need somebody to give me worth. I need somebody to give me value, when you do not need anybody to give you value. You do not need anybody to give you worth. But that is something that comes harder to us as human beings, because the training that we have been doing in our evolving as beings on this planet, the brain has been evolved in a way that it is faster in working with negativity and feeling bad about ourselves and feeling unworthy than when it goes to the positive. The brain that goes to the positive, when going to the positive things about ourselves, needs a lot more work. So who wants to do more work? We take the easy way out. But if we are going to decide to make the choice of doing the work, the more work, then we can feel worthy more times than we don't. And we don't have to control, or we don't have to expect other people to provide that worthiness for us. Because in waiting for somebody to give you that worthiness is just a waste of time. We don't need that. But this was something that it was so coming to me in a way, that fear of recognizing the collaborative process, because another friend and another student and an actor in one of my shows of Chekhov. Everybody knows I love Anton Chekhov. I mean, even the sessions that I describe at the actor studio, they have to do with me working on characters from Chekhov. If it's from the Bear, or if it's from Platonov, but it's Chekhov, Anton Chekhov, Anton Chekhov. I directed, and I'm very proud of directing Platonov, which is the first play of Chekhov. As you know, I talk about it a few years ago before the pandemic, here at the Main Street Theater on Roosevelt Island, with a double cast. So it was, first of all, there were so many people to begin with, but then I double casted because I wanted everybody to have a chance to feel what it's like to be on a stage and to have a show of a weekend, to have a rehearsal process rather than just classes of acting or sessions. So I wanted to give them that opportunity. One of the main actors, we had two who played the main character, but one of the main actors, Platonov, a director himself, took this class because, and I give him the credit, because he wanted to understand the point of view of actors so he could direct better, which is my hat off to him. As I have this hat today, I want you guys to tell me what you think of the hat, because I am really, really loving the hat. And I think it's because of staying in the house and not having control of my life in other ways due to the fear outside of the virus and democracy being completely almost gone. I am now getting hats for myself because I feel like I have control in trying new hats on. And let me know what you think of this one. This is the highest hat that I've ever had, and it has the biggest brim. I kind of like it. But going back to this person, he was one of the ones that wasn't really taking on, or he wasn't admitting, there's a difference. He wasn't admitting that he is very much in line with the way that I was directing, using method acting in rehearsals and using improvisation and using outside improvisation scenes, or adapting the work of Anton Chekhov, because I realized the words were hindering them. I wanted to give them more freedom in the behavior without having so many words. And he was always kind of like coming against me, portraying that he wasn't really interested in what I had to do in my way of directing. And I understand that, because he is a director himself. So of course he's going to be like, who does she think she is? She's not a director, she's an acting coach. And I understand that. But then he was nice enough when the whole project finished for him to send me a couple of messages to say, I appreciate everything that I've learned from you. I am a better director because of you. And I thought that was really, really wonderful. And then the note goes into saying, and I don't know if you know, but there's this short play that Anton Chekhov wrote, but I don't know if you know. And I've decided to adapt it, and I just filmed it. I finished filming it, but I don't know if you know. Dude, thank you so much. Thank you so much for telling me that you have learned a lot from working with me. I really appreciate it. Thank you. A lot of people don't even say that. But then for you to say, I don't know if you know, but there's a small play called The Bear, which I have talked about during my time in rehearsals with them for 2 years. I have talked about my work on that play, The Bear. It is actually even described in one of the podcast episodes fully. There is a description for anybody who wants to steal ideas, or for anybody who wants to just be inspired. You can go to one of my episodes on Hey Stella podcast with Mihaela, and you may be inspired by some of the choices and decisions and what I wanted to work on as an actress at the actor studio, with moderators of importance who gave me the greatest feedback, such as Estelle Parsons, Ellen Burstyn, Alec Baldwin, Harvey Keitel. So I have worked on this play with all these moderators that I mentioned over a period of years. I've spoke about it to this person who is saying to me in a message, I don't know if you know, but there is this play called The Bear. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Why not say, thank you so much for everything that you have brought into my imagination and my creative mind and soul and heart due to your adaptation, which I hated so much when you were doing Platonov. I've decided to do an adaptation of The Bear. Thank you. But no, again, it's people are so funny. I find it so funny because I think if it would have happened to me, which it did, but when I was, I don't know, 10 years ago, when this happened to me, I was so upset and I was so frustrated. And I was like, why are they not mentioning me? But now, you know, as you become wiser, you just don't care so much. You have to maintain your energy and you have to care more about the positive that you can bring to the world, bigger than myself. So fear holds back, revealing that collaboration is such an important creative means in anything that we do, not just in acting, not just with actors, in everyday life. I mean, think about collaboration in everyday life between family members. You have to appreciate them, you know, don't be in denial, because by denying someone's work, by denying someone's collaboration to a project, it means that you're denying the truth of that beautiful finished product, which is already proven to be a success, which you and others created by putting yourself in front of the camera and saying, it's all me, 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 me. I did it, I did it, I did it. Is it worth taking that credit away from somebody when that credit taken from somebody, it wasn't yours anyway? What's yours, it's yours. Nobody's going to take that away from you. I come in as an acting coach. I don't come in as a director. I cannot take the directing part from you because I don't know it. And I always admit that. I don't come in as an actor when I'm hired as an acting coach and taking the acting credit away from you. I come in and I try to bring what I can as an acting coach to bring more to that gap, to that bridge between the director and the actor. It's not like you have to give me credit for something that I've done that replaces your work or the actor's work. It's not. My job is completely something different. Any creation cannot be done by one person. I don't believe that it can be done successfully by one person. It requires a whole village to be able to raise a child. And the project is the baby. The project is the child. I am so excited that I actually was able to do this. Thank you so much. I hope you love my hat. Can somebody give me feedback to my hat? And if you go back to some of the episodes from my prior weeks on Hey Stella podcast on Spotify, please let me know what you think of the other hats. I'm going to try to have something on. So people out there, I appreciate your messages of being grateful to our collaboration, and to those of you who are still holding back and you're not letting it be known. Still, I am grateful that I had the opportunity to work with you, even if you don't want to make it public. I wish you all an amazing week. Thank you.